Welcome to New York Got Game.
Welcome back to another edition of New York Got Game. I'm your host, Dexter Henry, and the summer continues to roll along. So does the offseason. We are getting closer towards NBA basketball. A couple more months, not even too far from training camp. We're getting there as we make our way, but we got a couple more things to do as we get through the offseason. We've got some news that we're going to talk about towards the end of the show, but to start the show, we're going to continue our top 25 Knicks over the last 25 years, so let's not waste any time. Let's get right into it.
The Knicks are heating up.
All right, Knicks fans, we are back with our top 25 players since the year 2000, or top 25 players of the last 25 years. And last week, we went from 25 through 21, so we're going to keep this thing moving along as we go from 20 to 16. So moving through the list should be really interesting. And coming in at number 20 is a man who's a fan favorite for a lot of Knicks fans. That is J.R. Smith. 3+ seasons in New York, 213 games played. And look, if you were a fan of J.R. Smith, it was quite the ride watching this man play. Because, when he was on, he was on. But the shot selection sometimes could drive folks mad. But when you look at his numbers, right? Numbers were pretty good in terms of scoring 15.1 points per game for his career as a Knick, 4.3 assists per game, shot over 41% from the field, almost 37%, just under that from downtown. So, tremendous scorer, could fill it up, could get buckets with the best of them, won the Sixth Man of the Year award, the highlight of his Knicks career in 2013. Was a key scorer on that 54-win team that year. But that shot selection, man, it drove fans nuts. But here's one thing you got to say about him. He was one of the best scorers that you saw on a Knicks roster, I would say, in the last 25 years for sure. I mean, he was a vital piece of one of the Knicks' best stretches, albeit a small one. Outside of this current stretch they're on, a very small one, he was one of the best. And he had some real iconic moments, including an amazing windmill baseline dunk against the Heat. That's one I'll always remember, how he just turned around and cocked it. I mean, this guy was not just a shooter or scorer, he was a high flyer, extremely athletic, local guy from the area in New Jersey. And, you know, you gotta love what you had always seen from this guy, too. And then the other moment I think about is that backhanded dunk, alley-oop, that he catches from Pablo Prigioni to jam it down. I mean, that was a tremendous dunk. This guy could get the Garden on their feet, whether it was with hitting multiple threes, whether it was with a high-flying dunk. He had so many different ways that he could just really ignite the crowd. And listen, Knicks fans, you loved him because when he was on and came, over to the Knicks, and he followed Melo here to the Mecca. When he was on, he was on. He was one of the best. And I don't know if people remember, but there was this song that came out. I think this was back in the 2012-2013 season. It was from a guy, Milford Jerome, put this song out about J.R. Smith called So Right. And look, the song was so right. I mean, the lyrics to the song, everything was hilarious, but it perfectly encapsulated J.R. Smith.
With an option, it's my option to shoot or to pass. To score, you need to shoot. To score more, you need to shoot more. Hoops galore. My teammates be like, no, 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 yes.
Yeah, look, anytime I hear the lyrics to the song or watch the video, and it's been a while since I'd seen it just there, it's just hilarious. The teammates going, no, 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 yes. That's exactly how we all felt about JR when he took a shot. Look, it was a wild ride with J.R. Smith, but again, like I said, when he was on, Knicks fans loved him. You had to love him. One of the best scorers the Knicks have seen in the last 25 years on their roster. So salute to J.R. Smith coming in at number 20. At number 19, we're going to go to a big man still on the team at the moment, on the roster. And I'm talking about Mitchell Robinson, the man that went from number 26 to number 23, second round pick, 36th overall in 2018 in that draft. He was on the 2018-2019 All-Rookie Defensive Team. And look, Mitchell Robinson, defensive anchor, elite rim protector. He is the longest tenured Knick of this current era. averaging 7.8 points per game for his career, 7.8 rebounds per game. Listen, the man does not shoot much from, within 3-4 feet from the rim, 70% field goal percentage, elite rim runner. His win share is 35.2. So he's impacted winning and defense in a huge way for the Knicks. Now, here's the thing with Mitchell Robinson, who, when you look at it in terms of what he's given the Knicks and what he's meant to them in this era and where he was drafted with the 36th overall pick back in 2018, this is a guy who is one of the Knicks' better draft picks in their history coming out of the second round. You have to say that. He's been an impact defensive player. The one knock on him is that he hasn't been healthy. And that's something the Knicks fans will always talk about with him. Hasn't been able to stay on the court. When he has been on the court, you've felt his impact. You've seen his impact. You saw it recently this year in the playoffs, how he changed games with his offensive rebound. He's a tremendous offensive rebounder, one of the best in the league, if not the first or second best. You could go with either him or Steven Adams, but Mitchell Robinson is an absolute monster on the board. The blockness monster has done his thing as a Knicks player. You just would like to see him stay a little bit healthy. And when I think of Mitchell Robinson, I'm going to always think about that playoff series a couple years ago, back in 2023 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Mitchell Robinson dominated. I mean, he owned Jarrett Allen. He owned Evan Mobley. They couldn't do anything on the glass. He made them dudes look soft. He straight punked the Cavaliers. There was no doubt about it. So Mitchell Robinson, you always think about him with toughness, working on the glass, the lob threat, rim running, all that stuff. He's been tremendous in how good he is. And then just being a defensive anchor. And this upcoming season for the Knicks, big word with him, if he's healthy, he could be huge, because now you can put him into that starting lineup with Karl-Anthony Towns. We can see how much mistakes he'll cover. It'll be intriguing for Mike Brown to see how that can impact the team. But Mitchell Robinson, when it comes in terms of rebounding and defense, he's one of the best Knicks big men of all time. Now look, he's no Patrick Ewing. We're not calling him Willis Reed or anything like that. But another guy we talked about earlier in the last episode on this list, of Marcus Camby, is in that conversation too. But Mitchell Robinson, man, one of the best that you've seen in terms of protecting the paint. So block this monster, Mitch Rob, coming in at 19. At number 18, another Knick that is currently on the roster, new to the team, only played a season under his belt. Remember, a lot of the value I've told you is going to come with longevity, time you've put in at your peak. And here we're talking about at number 18, Muel Bridges. Right? One season, just played last season, 2024 to the present. And Muel Bridges. Mitchell Robinson we talked about before, but Muel Bridges did the thing that we know Muel Bridges does. Plays a lot of games, doesn't miss games. Played in all 82 games in his first season. New York averaged just under 17 points a game, over 17 points a game, just averaged under 18, 17.6 points per game is what he had, 3.7 assists per game, shot 50% from the field, 35% from downtown. Look, you like the fact that he played a full season last year as one of the team's top two-way players, but here's what not really helps him, but hurts Muel Bridges, I should say, from being higher on this list. Like, some of it is the time. It's only been here for a season. And that season was, I would say, a tumultuous one with the Knicks fans. Because I get it, he was inconsistent on offense in the regular season. Extremely low free throw rate as he consistently avoided contact, and I know that drove a lot of you guys crazy. However, he was a lot better in the playoffs. And look, when you talk about Muel Bridges, if you're talking right now, you got to think about those two game-winning defensive plays in games 1 and games 2 against Boston, coming up with 2 huge steals in back-to-back games. I mean, those are his Knicks moments, right? Those are the Knicks moments, and it's so fitting that he did it with defense. You just saw game 1 here. Now you can look at game 2 where he comes over for the help and gets the block to seal the game again. I mean, these are 2 iconic defensive plays in Knicks history for a guy that had an up and down season, offensively and a bit defensively. He showed up big defensively when it mattered most. Now, could he be better? Do Knicks fans still want to see more of him next season? Sure. And there's a way, some of these guys that I'm talking about right here, we just talked about Mitchell Robinson before. But Muel Bridges is a guy that can, we do this list 2-3 years from now, he can definitely fly up this list and get into the top 10. He just doesn't have the time yet. But in his short time, and the reason he's at number 18 is he had a huge impact on the Knicks in the playoffs. And as I mentioned, 2 iconic moments. Now, will there be more iconic moments from Muel Bridges? Will there be a better second season for Muel Bridges? Maybe. We'll see how he does on the Mike Brown system. But year one, it was rocky with the Knicks fans. I think Muel Bridges can do better. He has some things he can work on his game. You'd like to see him get to the free throw line a little bit more than he did. Free throw rate has dropped tremendously. It's not good. He's been avoiding contact. He's got to be a little bit more aggressive. I haven't liked when people have thrown lazily the soft word around him. I don't think he's soft. You can't be soft to make the plays that he made right there. But Muel Bridges, one of the best defenders in the league. Big season for him coming up. But I think well-deserving of what he did in his first year. And especially, I said, you got to value the playoff moments. He has a couple of them already. Back-to-back games in one series. He's got 2 of the biggest Knicks defensive plays in their playoff history. So can't have too much of a problem. Well, I mean, I guess you could have a problem, but it's my list. And this is why Muel Bridges comes in at number 18. At number 17, got another Knicks player in his first year. That's the big man, Karl-Anthony Towns, a.k.a. Cat. Look, Cat, all-star last season, 2024-2025, third-team All-NBA last season. I mean, the numbers were dope. 24.4 points per game, 12.8 rebounds, 52% from the field, 42% from downtown. Man's a 7-footer. He's called himself the greatest shooting big man of all time. Some of y'all might feel differently about that. I think he's got a case. You can't argue too much. Maybe you want to say Dirk. You know, before him, you could have said somebody like Patrick Ewing, who didn't really shoot as many threes, but was a fantastic jump shooting big man. But for Cat, I thought that he had such an interesting first year with the Knicks that gets him on this list. Like, look, you make an all-star team. You're one of the 15 best players in the season in the league, as he did coming in third-team All-NBA. That's going to put you pretty high, no doubt about it. But I think for me, he ingratiated himself with Knicks fans. He looked really comfortable when he came in. He's embraced being his home, around his Dominican culture and all that. But I thought what it was going to come down to him, and listen, I know the knock on him is not the greatest defender, and sometimes he has some silly fouls that make you want to pull your hair out. I get it. I get it. It's been maddening. Kind of like J.R. Smith was maddening. I get it. But I don't think it's for effort. You know, I remember talking to Stephen Bondi at the beginning of last season about this, and Steph wrote a really good article about Cat and the label of him being soft and why that wasn't true and how that's just stuck with him, you know, since the situation that went down in Minnesota with Jimmy Butler and all that. Yeah, I don't think Cat has played soft. I think sometimes he's made silly fouls where you, like I said, you want to pull your hair out, scratch your head, whatever you want to call it. That you're just like, but I don't think it's effort. I don't think it's lack of trying. I think his teammates in the locker room love him. I think they want to see him have a little bit more awareness, I'll say, on defense. I think that's something I'd like to see. But look, there's a couple of games he had in the playoffs. He had his moments too. We just talked about Muel Bridges. He had his moments. You got to remember, against the Pistons in Game 4, he hit a fantastic, just dagger of a three, which is one I always remember as a shot clock winding down. I did not think it was a good shot on that step back, and then it was good. There's a little bit of that J.R. Smith. No, yes. I was like, Cat, what are you doing? But when you can hit a shot like that, that's why you might feel that you are the greatest shooting big man of all time. And that was a big shot and a big win for the Knicks in a big-time playoff game. And you saw him do that. And then, you also think about the Pacers, series, when they really needed him to score in Game 5, and he just put the team on his back in that fourth quarter and was tremendous there. So look, Cat's had some big-time moments too. The book is not closed on him. He is already in one season with being an all-star, third-team All-NBA. He's one of the best Knicks big men of all time. He's absolutely one of the Knicks' most skilled big men of all time. You can put him right there with Patrick Ewing just because of the shooting touch. He is not the defender that Patrick Ewing was. I thought he made a leap as a rebounder last year. That was something I like to see. We'll see how he elevates his game more. But nah, man, Cat's home. He's comfortable. The key is, can he stop the silly fouls? Does that, he'll be shooting way up this list really soon. But right now, got him in at number 17. And for the last spot that we're going to talk about today, number 16. Look, Nate Robinson. Fan favorite. I don't know if anybody defines fan favorite more than Nate Robinson, right? And look, a lot of it has to do with his stature. And listen, if you're not tall, you're always going to be out here rooting for the short guys. I understand it. I'm tall. I still root for the short guys. But I understand. Short people out there, you're going to rock with the short people. We get it. Team short people, there's nothing wrong with that. This is a guy who's 5'7". First round pick, 21st overall. 5 seasons in New York, played 312 games. Once finished third in Sixth Man of the Year voting. That was back in 2009. He averaged a career high 17.2 points per game off the bench that year. That was under Mike D'Antoni's system. So he thrived in that system under D'Antoni. And listen, this guy, you want to talk about a short guy and a spark plug? This was a bright light in a dark era of Knicks basketball. When they were trying to rebuild, they were trying to get better, you were trying to look for some hope, Knicks fans. This man at least made you smile. 12.5 points per game through his Knicks career over 5 seasons, 2.8 assists per game, shot over 42% from the field, 35% from three. And look, a lot of people are going to remember him for the slam dunk contest. 3-time slam dunk champion. Electrifying energy off the bench. A lot of people's memory will be of him in those dunk contests. Me, personally, it's a lot of offense with this guy, Nate Robinson, but I think about this defensive play he made that made me get out of my seat. Does anybody remember what he did to Yao Ming? You remember when he got up on 7'4" Yao Ming and blocked him? And look, if I was 5'7" and I blocked Yao Ming, you couldn't tell me nothing at all whatsoever. I blocked Yao Ming. I mean, that was in your face. What did 5 hands say to the ball? Man, just looking at that again just gets me hyped. Yao Ming was like, where'd he come from? I didn't even see him there. Yeah, that's the kind of energy that Nate Robinson brought. That's what the fans like. Here's the thing. He fit New York. When you look through this list, you talk about the fan favorites here, you're going to notice something they all have. They play hard. They gave a damn. They cared. And when you're 5'7" like Nate Robinson, look, you don't get anywhere playing basketball at 5'7" if you don't play hard. that doesn't happen. You can't be 5'7" out here in the NBA, or just to get to the NBA, just saying, oh, yeah, maybe I'll give half effort. It doesn't work like that. Every time I saw Nate Robinson, this was a dude who was like, yo, I can't go back. I've worked hard to get here. I've put in the work to get here. And listen, Nate Robinson had himself a solid career. Not just with the Knicks, the 5 seasons with the Knicks. He had himself a solid NBA career as a 5'7" Energizer bunny whose shot got better, who was a good 6-man, could play for a lot of teams. Yeah, he hurt you with some of the size on defense. But listen, man, he could cook. He could cook. And listen, if you are going to think back to that early, late 2000s, early part of the 2010s Knicks basketball, which was not good basketball, okay? It was not some good times. You might not think fondly of the Mike D'Antoni era. I'm not sure anybody does. But when you do want to smile a little bit about it, you gotta think about Nate Robinson and what he accomplished here. And look, he wore the New York on his chest proud. He played hard all the time. I think Knicks fans were really proud of him. And look, I think he's well deserving of where he was. But he's a guy, I think, if he had played a little bit longer in New York, then maybe he's a little bit higher. But for what his career was as a role player and the impact he had as a 3-time slam dunk champion, once finished third in 6th Man of the Year voting, one of the best bench scorers you've seen in the league, I would say probably in the last 15 to 20 years. I mean, Nate Robinson, he's right up there with the best of them. And I think a lot of people, he's a guy, when I talk about fan favorites, coming back to the Garden, he got a lot of cheers. We know Nate Robinson's had some health issues over the last couple of years, so just want to send some love out to him. But Nate Robinson, man, hey, when's the last time you see somebody 5'7" block somebody 7'4"? Like, if that didn't get you up out of your seat, I don't know what would. That's the play I think about when it comes to Nate Robinson. 5'7", blocking somebody 7'4". And all the short people out there was like, I can do that too. Y'all can't, but I understand why you said you can do that too. All right, so there you go. We have 20 through 16. We're moving along through this list. J.R. Smith coming in at 20, Mitchell Robinson at 19, Muel Bridges at 18. Cat was number 17, so we had a lot of current Knicks here in this one. And then that's bookended by Nate Robinson coming in at 16. All right, so next up, we're going to move on in the list, but we are now all the way through 16. So we're making our moves, and we'll see what the next edition has next week as we move along through the top 25 Knicks of the last 25 years.
The Knicks are on fire!
All right, Knicks Nation, we've wrapped up players 20 through 16, but we're not done yet. Let's hit the headlines lighting up Madison Square Garden. First up, we've got coaching news. As reported by our Stephen Bondi, the Knicks are finalizing the hire of Chris Gent as the associate head coach under Mike Brown. Now, Gent isn't just a familiar face. He's Brown's right-hand man from Cleveland with nearly 2 decades of NBA coaching experience and history with the Garden. He'll now lead the offense and try to help master the chemistry between Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns, an inspired move to sharpen their offensive game. Next, let's talk holiday hoops. According to reports, the Knicks are slated to host the Cleveland Cavaliers on Christmas Day, the team's 58th appearance under the bright lights of the season's biggest day. It's a marquee showdown featuring 2 Eastern contenders packed with narrative juice. But real talk here, I would have loved a playoff rematch against the Pistons. A revenge story, holiday fireworks, and maybe that iconic Jalen dagger once again. That would have been something special. Finally, it's all about throwback style. In a move that's got hardcore fans buzzing, the Knicks are bringing back their iconic 1990s jerseys as next season's City Edition uniforms. These are classics. Think the classic white New York with the bold blue side panels, a signal that the organization is chasing a championship while honoring its heritage. So, this week we got 3 great stories. Building a polished coaching staff, grabbing the biggest stage on Christmas, and the Knicks embracing their legacy while chasing ring number 3. Tell me, what's your take? Did Gent's hire excite you? Are you pumped for the Cavs matchup or still dreaming of a Pistons showdown? And whose 90s jersey would you rock first? Drop your thoughts in the comments. That's going to do it for this edition of New York Got Game. Next week, we're going to dive into players 15 to 11 on the top 25 list. So smash that subscribe button. Turn on your notifications. You do not want to miss it. As always, special thanks to producer Erica Block, associate producer Nick Federico, editor Eduardo Guerrero, and production assistant Tommy Cohen. I'm Dexter Henry. We'll catch you next time on New York Got Game.
And thanks for watching New York Got Game. Boom shakalaka.